Welcome back to Day One Voiceover. My name's Robert Vienna, and this channel is documenting my journey into a new career into the voiceover business from day one. Now, having seen some early success, which I showed in my last video, I was hit with a little bit of a realization that left me a little panicked. And the reason for that is because I don't know that I have the proper equipment to call myself a professional. Or do I? At this moment, I feel really confused about the state of my tech. If you might recall, in my very first video, I showed you what it is I'm working with. A Blue Yeti USB microphone and a laptop that I borrowed from my fiance. Here's the microphone. Like I said before, it feels sturdy, it feels nice, it looks professional. But in the industry, if anyone's watching this that's an established professional, you're probably cringing. And I get it, I understand it. But it's what I have. And in addition to that, while I saw a lot of negative reviews about it, I did see some positive ones. And one in particular that stuck out to me was this one from Tom Buck. Now, Tom Buck took a couple of these microphones apart. Literally, physically took them apart. Disassembled them, compared their components. He determined the components inside were pretty cheaply made. I understand, it is an entry-level USB microphone. But he put it back together and he tested the sound quality. Compared it with one of his existing everyday mics. And it sounds good. It sounds fine.
I always thought the Yeti sounded great. I never really had an issue with it. It wasn't until I started seeing stuff online that I realized it was sort of like this thing about the Yeti is bad. It might not be the absolute best sounding microphone I've ever heard or used, but it's also far, far, far from the worst.
The problem with this mic is that it's very easy to use improperly. The shape of it kind of misleads you into thinking you're supposed to talk into it certain ways. But if you know how to use it, and it's in the right environment, in the right recording space, it can do the job. So for now, I'm sticking with the Blue Yeti. Now, the laptop is a different story. If I was going to take this career seriously, I needed to start building my own equipment. The laptop I had been using was my fiance's, and I would borrow it anytime I needed it, and it was great. It served its purpose. I got to the point where I was processing my audio recordings pretty quickly, adding compression and EQ and all of that, and it was coming out pretty well. I was adding background music and everything. That's how I got some of those demo samples onto Fiverr. But in the end, it wasn't my laptop. And this is where I might have taken a wrong left turn. See, I've been running a pretty successful side hustle, my photography business, for quite a while now. And I've been doing it exclusively from an old iPad Pro from 2017, which in tech terms is ancient, but it did the job and I did everything I needed to with that iPad. So if I was going to move forward with this, do I go with an iPad or do I go with a MacBook? So when Apple recently announced the new iPad Pro M4, I figured it was worth considering. I mean, the processor in it is unbelievable. It makes the device, as small and thin as it is, as powerful, if not more so, than 90% of the computers that are out in the real world today. And if I was able to run my photography business, which has a lot of memory intensive, processor intensive video and photo editing software, why couldn't it run what I needed to for audio recordings? The problem comes in with the connectivity. The iPad Pro only has one USB-C port, so that's a challenge. But there are USB adapters out there. USB-C hubs where you can connect monitors and external drives and headphones and anything that you might need. And it actually makes it pretty versatile when you use it that way. And then you connect it to the keyboard that's available for it, and it's like you're using a laptop anyways. So that would solve the connectivity problem. And so I did it. I pulled the trigger and I ordered an iPad Pro M4. And it's been amazing. It's so incredibly thin and light and powerful, and it's improved my photography workflow immediately from day one, which is great. And I've been able to edit most of these videos that I've had on YouTube so far on the iPad as well. And nothing slows it down, which is really encouraging. Now, I know for the investment that I made into the iPad, I probably could have picked up a really quality mic, a nice audio interface, and maybe even a smaller computer that I could still do the work on. But I would still need something to do my photography business because I'm used to doing everything on an iPad and I'm used to that workflow. So it just made sense. Plus, my workplace is too small to accommodate additional equipment the way it is right now. With just the one microphone and the iPad, it's incredibly cramped. I don't see how I would have had the space to put in everything else that I needed. But then this Fiverr gig came in, and I was hit with a big realization. I don't know how to edit my audio files on the iPad. I can record them on there, but I didn't have the software to process them. I was used to Audacity on the laptop, and Audacity is not available on an iPad. So I downloaded some other programs that help you process audio recordings, but I didn't like any of them. They just didn't feel right. I couldn't quite get used to them or figure them out. And so I ended up having to record the audio for that gig on my iPad and process them on the laptop, which felt very clumsy. And while I was happy to get that gig, it did leave me feeling a little bummed because I was concerned whether I had gone in the right direction with my gear or not. Is this iPad the right choice? I don't know. Am I trying to fit a square peg into a round hole and possibly sacrificing the beginning start of this career? I don't know yet. Well, after some research, I realized that I actually do have the software to process the audio, DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is known mainly for its video editing processing, its color correcting prowess. It's one of the best in the industry, but it's not really well known for its audio processing capabilities. But it turns out the Fairlight application within DaVinci Resolve is actually incredibly powerful. I just have no idea how to use it. And I have to sit down and figure it out. The thing with DaVinci Resolve is that as powerful as it is, it's also really intimidating. It's a fully professional program, and it has options that I'll probably never use or even understand. But maybe I can make it work. I have to sit down and figure it out, but maybe I can make it work. So now what? This is where I made the decision that is going to either stall my career before it gets any traction, or it'll help me blaze a new trail in this industry. See, I wasn't able to find any advice anywhere on how to run a successful voiceover business using an iPad. The thing is, there's no reason why it couldn't. It's certainly powerful enough. I can connect whatever I need to it. Why wouldn't I be able to run the business? So I'm sticking with this setup. I'm sticking with the Blue Yeti for now, and I'm sticking with this iPad. I'm going to have to figure some things out. I'm going to have to really buckle down and learn how to use DaVinci Resolve and a couple of other processes as well. But if I can do this, then maybe I can establish myself as the expert that people come to for advice on this. Maybe I'm the guy that people will seek advice from the way I've been seeking advice from all these other YouTube professionals. I see it as an opportunity. If it works, then I've laid the blueprint for someone that might want to run their business using an iPad. And if it doesn't work, then I'll show definitive proof that maybe it's not possible, and then I'll have to adjust myself and get a standard laptop. And I'm sure my gear will grow over time. I'll get a proper microphone with an XLR connection, I'll get an audio interface. But this is what I have for now, and this is what I'm sticking with for now. I genuinely don't even have the space in my studio to have any additional equipment in there. So I have to make do with as flexible a system as I possibly can. So if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, this is the perfect reason to do so. Hit subscribe and check in on me from time to time and see how this decision is going for me. Have I gotten laughed out of the business within just a few months? Or is it actually working out? And I'm laying down a blueprint for others following in my path that might want to do the same thing. Either way, I do appreciate you watching to the end here. Hit like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment. Maybe you are someone out there that has tried to operate this type of business with an iPad or minimal equipment, not just having come across your information to get some advice from you. Or if you have some advice in general on how to operate a business with an iPad or something similar, then please let me know. I'd love to engage with you and see what your thoughts are. Thanks for sticking around and watching to the end. I'm looking forward to keeping you guys updated. We'll talk soon.